Namaste, welcome to Pythagoras Academy. In today's video, we'll discuss the concept of pseudo force. This concept of pseudo force is really misleading and many students fail to apply it correctly when it comes to the classical mechanics. In classical mechanics, we might encounter various scenarios where the problem is simplified or the analysis is simplified when we work from a non-inertial frame of reference. But Newton's first law and second law are not valid from a non-inertial frame of reference. So the concept of pseudo force is to make Newton's first and second laws work when you are working from a non-inertial frame of reference. It is to correct the limitation that Newton's first and second laws have. First of all, let us understand the meaning of the word pseudo. The word pseudo means non-real, the one which is not real. So pseudo force is not a real force. It is an imaginary force. It is only a mathematical adjustment that we do to make Newton's first and second laws work in a non-inertial frame of reference. So the idea of pseudo force is that whenever you are working from a non-inertial frame of reference, apart from all the forces that you observe, I mean to say, apart from all the real forces that you observe, you must also apply an extra imaginary force, extra non-real force, or the pseudo force on the system. Then you are ready to apply Newton's first law or second law. The direction and magnitude of pseudo force is defined like this. The magnitude of pseudo force is mass of the system into the acceleration of the frame of reference. Acceleration of the frame of reference. Because you are applying pseudo force only from a non-inertial frame of reference, there is some acceleration to frame of reference. So the magnitude of pseudo force is defined as mass of the system into acceleration of frame of reference. And the direction of pseudo force is as simple as opposite to the direction of acceleration of the frame of reference. Let us take the example of the tree and car again. So the tree is at rest, of course, and the car is accelerating. So when you try to apply Newton's laws from the car frame of reference, which is accelerating and which is a non-inertial frame of reference, that the Newton's first law and second law fail. But let us consider the pseudo force. So there is weight acting on the tree, there is normal force applied by the ground on the tree, and it is observed that acceleration of the tree with respect to car is a in the backward direction. And as I said, whenever you are working from non-inertial frame of reference, apart from all the real forces, you must consider an extra imaginary force which is known as pseudo force. So following these two steps, these two definitions, magnitude is mass of the system. Let me say mass of the tree is m. So apart from these forces, I am considering the pseudo force. The pseudo force I am representing in the green, whose magnitude is mass of the system into acceleration of the frame of reference. So acceleration of the frame of reference is a, m into a. This is the pseudo force, Fp, the pseudo force. And the second definition is the definition of the direction. It is opposite to the direction of the acceleration of frame of reference. The frame of reference is accelerating towards right, so the direction of pseudo force would be towards left. So this is the pseudo force acting on the system. Now if we observe from the car frame of reference, there is a net force of ma, and this ma is sufficient to cause acceleration of a, and Newton's laws are working perfectly. This is the concept of pseudo force. And what many students do is they try to apply pseudo force from an inertial frame of reference. That will be absolutely wrong. So whenever you are doing your analysis, you should have the clarity of your frame of reference, from which frame of reference you are working. If it is inertial, it is even wrong to utter the word pseudo force, because there is no concept of pseudo force when you are working from inertial frame of reference. there is nothing like pseudo force. It will be incorrect to say that pseudo force is 0 as well, because there is nothing like pseudo force when you're working from inertial frame of reference. This thing you should be very, very specific. If you are working from inertial frame of reference, there is nothing like pseudo force. But when you are working from a non-inertial frame of reference, yes, to make Newton's first law and second law work, apart from all the forces, we consider the pseudo force and following the definition of magnitude and direction. Now, how did we get this? Just this is the adjustment. For example, in this example, the car is accelerating towards right with an acceleration a. With respect to car, the tree has got acceleration a backward. How much force should be there to cause this acceleration ma? In which direction? Towards left. So this mathematical adjustment we have made. So this is the concept of pseudo force. And now, is the pseudo force done? No. This is the concept of pseudo force only from a translating non-inertial frame of reference. A non-inertial frame of reference can be a rotating frame of reference as well, because a rotating frame of reference is also accelerated frame of reference. It has got acceleration. So a rotating frame of reference is also considered as non-inertial frame of reference. Can I apply this pseudo force from a rotating frame of reference? Absolutely no. The way how you work from a rotating frame of reference is completely different. That I'll discuss in some other video. Thank you.